Hi ladies, and welcome to our Panimi. This is Saratova Best. Let's see if I can beat the rain that's coming down under my Canadian flag. Okay, you ever feel like your soul wants to fly and the rest of you wants to go to sleep? And you ever feel like you came out of this amazing energy where you felt like you can do anything? And then when you kind of came down from that cloud, you thought, what was I thinking? Did I actually think that I could do that? So we're exactly, all of us, in that energy right now. Because we're going out of Tishrei, we're going into Cheshvan, we're going from this sunny, luminous, deeply holy spiritual month into a time that's kind of dark, rainy, uninspiring, no holidays, gets dark at 4 p.m., all that other stuff. And the question is, how do you do it without going into a slump? Because we felt things in Tishrei, rightly so, that were reflecting how our soul wants to fly. And in Cheshvan, it's the opposite. Maybe I'll go to sleep. It's 4 p.m. It's already dark. Let's just call it a night. All those dreams I had, let somebody else do it. So what do we do about that? So I want to tell you a story that isn't well documented, or I don't know the details well. I'm going to kind of give you my version of it, which is not the perfectly accurate version. It seems that one Shabbos, the Rebbe told certain Hasidim that he wanted something done. Something was really, really, really hard to do. And they got together Motzei Shabbos, they had a meeting, or maybe a number of meetings, and they came to the conclusion that they really don't have the tools to do it. So it seems that, if I have the story right, Sunday morning the Rebbe asked one of the Maskirim, so what's happening? What are they doing? And not comfortably, the secretary had to tell the Rebbe they met and they decided that they really don't have the tools to do this particular thing. Now you can imagine, and remember, this is an example of, can you fly or are you going to sleep? They said, the idea is a very flying idea. It's an amazing idea, but looks like we need to go to sleep. We don't have the tools for it. When in doubt, go to sleep. So you can imagine that the Rebbe was not exactly happy with it. And the Rebbe's comment was the following. Not just, come on, just do things that are impossible. The Rebbe said something to the effect of course, what I asked them to do, what I demanded of them to do, was impossible. They didn't have the tools to do it. But when I told them to do this, if they had trusted and jumped in, head first, soul first, buoyant soul first, so to speak, and just jumped in without having to think it through, they would have had miraculous success. And they would have seen things unfolding in a way that they couldn't even understand, and it would have worked. They needed to take that leap in, and it would have worked. So that's us now. Again, the story is, I don't know the exact details, but that's the gist of it. That is us now. We just came out of Shul. We were sitting in Shul. We were sitting in a holy place, in a holy month, and still are, the month of Tishrei, for 30 days. And we prepared for 30 days before that. And we were in an energy that is completely elevated, beyond the world. It didn't look normal, Mondays and Tuesdays. You know how many people ask each other, what day is today? Let's see, what we had on our block, they were doing some work. Con Ed was doing some work, and they stationed somebody here to check the parking spots and make sure that when people move their cars, Con Ed trucks would swoop in and they would take all those parking spots. And they didn't know what to do because there were days and days when nobody was moving their cars. They couldn't figure it out. It's a regular Monday and Tuesday. Why aren't these people moving their cars? Because we were out of the world for a month, dancing on the streets, elevating the streets. I don't have to describe to you Tishrei, especially Tishrei in Crown Heights. We were out of the world, and we're still in Tishrei. And the kinds of the sense of what is possible, because we were tasting it and smelling it from our soul, was very different from the way we're going to taste it, imagine it, think about it in Cheshvan. No question about it. So what do? How do we take all of that light, the light that God Almighty Himself is giving to us in a not very practical way, but in a way of a gift? He's giving us this light and He's saying, take it, take the ball and run with it. I will make it possible. And our soul says, yes, yes, yes. Our soul feels on Isru Chag. I interviewed people. I said, how are you feeling Isru Chag? And everybody said, yuck. In other words, because what we have to accomplish this year is so massive. A shift from Gullus to Gul, it's so massive. Every soul smells, senses, there's big stuff happening. I want to be a massive part of it. Every soul feels that. I saw it. I interviewed people. What are you feeling? And I could sort of read between the lines. And everybody kind of felt like, come on, I can't do that stuff. I don't have the tools to do that stuff. Because in Tishrei, your soul can do anything. In Cheshvan, the rest of you, your physical, practical life, come on, I can't do this stuff. So what are we supposed to do? And the famous Vart that you come home from Tishrei and you have all these suitcases packed with all these spiritual treasures and then you unpack them. And where do you put the stuff when you have packed it? Hopefully we didn't put it on the lowest basement shelf behind everything else because we can't deal with it because it's too intense. Because I have news for all of us, maybe it's not news. The opportunities that are given to us and become available each year are completely beyond the opportunities of last year. The light that's being filtered down to us and has been all of Elul and Tishrei, there's never been a light like this ever. The craving that our souls have to spread the light of Mashiach in the world, we never had those kind of cravings ever before. This wasn't the way we felt last year and the year before and 20 years ago and 40 years ago and the old timers. There was no craving like this on the soul level ever before. It's a different year. It's way bigger. It's infinitely bigger than it's ever been before. And yet we feel much more tired, discouraged, cynical, burnt out on the physical level than we ever did before. So that's the transition from the soul energy, Tishrei, to the body energy, Cheshvan, from let's do it, yes, to the Cheshvan energy of, I don't know, I gotta wash the dishes, call me later, we'll talk when we have a chance, hopefully never. That's the transition. And trust me, our souls will not forgive us. They saw something, they see something, they sense something, they're craving something, that if our physical life doesn't partner up with our souls and say, I'm with you, I'm here to support you. My soul, my dear soul, I hear your cry, I hear your craving, I hear it in you. Imagine if our bodies came along and our practical lives came along and said, I'm here to support you. We're going to do it. But it's not practical. So comes along a Shabbos that's called Shabbos Breishis. And Shabbos Breishis is this bridge from the holy month to the mundane month. From the soul inspiration, the sensing the possibility, the sensing the joy of infinite possibilities that give your soul a chance to breathe, down to that practical month where it's raining and it doesn't feel possible. I want to tell you something. Chol Hamoed Sukkos, during Simchas Pesach Shueva, the last morning Simchas Pesach Shueva, I brought my chair and I sat there on Kingston Avenue from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. and I watched people dance in the rain for 2 hours, in the pouring rain, soaking hats, soaking kapatas, soaking shoes, and they danced like there's no tomorrow. It was amazing. It was amazing, and everybody did it. Nobody went home because they were getting wet. It's like, forget my hat, forget my kapata, forget my suit, forget my shoes, like just chuck it all. We're dancing. So Shabbos Breishis is that energy of funneling down, that energy of my soul was dancing all of Tishrei. It's going to dance into the year. And it's all funneled down through Shabbos Breishis, because Breishis is still part of Tishrei. So all that exalted energy, it's still there. We're in Tishrei on Shabbos Breishis. But it's Shabbos Mevarchim Cheshvan. So it's bringing us into Cheshvan. And it's that and it's that. So it has the unique ability to funnel all of it, all of that light down into the world in the most incredible way. And therefore, every single moment of Shabbos Breishis is precious. You know, the way you set yourself up, Shabbos Breishis, that's the way it goes the whole year. Because every moment is probably an isolated moment of time, that moment of ayin, that split second in which all of reality comes together, all possibilities are there, and then it splits apart, and then there's another one, and another incredible moment, and another with infinite opportunities that we'll never have again, that we couldn't even imagine, with a series of ions of infinite places of infinite opportunities, all there. It looks like Shabbos Breishis is a series of all those moments. Every one of them precious, every one of them a bridge, a bridge of the quality that we've never seen before. Yes, we're used to Shabbos Breishis. We've been here before. If you're watching this video, you're more than 2 years old, right? So you've been through a Shabbos Breishis before. But a Shabbos Breishis like this, that's a bridge between that and that, we've never had before in history. And we've never been whom we are now in history. And it's an incredible time. And it's an incredible Shabbos that's coming up. So let's grab each moment. Don't be afraid to fly. We can fly from Tishrei down into Cheshvan and continue to fly. Let's not be afraid to fly into Geula. We want it, our souls want it, the Rebbe wants it, the world wants it, God Almighty wants it from every side. We're in the right place